discusses basketball, it gets asked a question about who you're choosing between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. They're, saying that we understand that it's generational, answering that kind of question. But John Starks goes into explaining why it shouldn't be generational and why actually LeBron James shouldn't be in the conversation. And the conversation should really be had between Michael Jordan.
With Michael Jordan, You've been watching LeBron.
Yeah.
Who is the GOAT when it comes to basketball and why?
Do I really have to answer?
Absolutely.
Do you hate that?
John Starks just pulled up on the Breakfast Club and said something that is going to hit the LeBron fan base like a truck. He straight up said LeBron James should not even be in the GOAT conversation at all. Not Jordan is slightly better. Not it's close. Nope. Starks said the real GOAT debate does not even include LeBron, and people online are already losing it over the comments. Drop your opinion right now. Does LeBron still belong in the GOAT conversation, or did that debate end years ago? Now, before people start brushing this off, let's talk about who John Starks actually is, because that part matters a lot. This is not some random internet personality chasing views. This is not somebody sitting behind a mic after watching old NBA clips online. John Starks lived it for real.
Crucial free throws missed by Cartwright, and the Knicks lead remains at 3. We're down to 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Starks, yes! What a move by Starks, who was able to sky to the basket. The Bulls call for time.
He played in the NBA during one of the toughest eras ever, and he went head-to-head with Michael Jordan in intense playoff battles where every possession felt like life or death. These were not regular season games in January. These were pressure-packed moments with championships on the line and entire cities watching every move. He was right there on the court trying to stop Jordan himself. So when Starks speaks on Michael Jordan, he is not guessing. He is not repeating something he heard from social media. He is talking from direct experience after seeing Jordan up close in the biggest moments possible. During the interview on The Breakfast Club, Starks made his position crystal clear. He said the only real GOAT debate should be Michael Jordan versus Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's it. According to him, those are the two names that truly belong at the top of basketball history, not LeBron, not anybody else. That statement alone shocked a lot of people because Starks did not sound unsure about it either.
With Michael Jordan, You've been watching LeBron.
Yeah.
Who is the GOAT when it comes to basketball and why?
Do I really have to answer?
Do you hate that
Because
question?
it's a generational question.
I know.
It's a
cool.
generational
It's
question,
cool.
right? The younger generation is always going to say
I'm going to say
LeBron.
Jordan. You know I'm going to say Jordan. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. When you play against somebody that did things that, like, how can this man be on all the time? We didn't see LeBron, and LeBron is great. Don't get me wrong.
He said it with confidence, and the internet immediately started going crazy over the clip. What made the conversation even more serious was the way he explained his reasoning. This did not sound like somebody throwing out a wild take just to trend online for a day. Starks broke it down from the perspective of someone who actually had to survive against Jordan on the floor. He talked about going back and watching film after those playoff games, searching for mistakes Jordan made, looking for moments where the pressure finally got to him. Looking for one possession where Jordan slipped up, forced a bad play, or let the situation become too big for him. And according to Starks, he could never really find those moments. He said Jordan constantly made the correct decision in pressure situations. Every big possession, every key moment, every late game situation, Jordan seemed locked in like a machine. The right shot, the right pass, the right move, over and over again. That level of consistency honestly drove defenders crazy because it felt like there was never a weakness to attack. Starks described watching those games back and almost being stunned by how clean Jordan's performances looked under pressure. Imagine sitting in a film room trying to figure out what went wrong defensively. But the answer keeps coming back the same every time. Jordan simply executed better than everybody else.
I don't think it's soft. I think it just has evolved into more of an offensive scoring game. It's not as physical because you don't have that big man that we had back in the day. Every team had 7-footers, low post players, all of that. And so we had to feed them. So in that lane was very congested. And so you had to fight your way in there just to score. Now everybody's spread out. Now it's just a drive and kick game. But as you can see during the playoffs, they going back to the old school rules. They let the hand check.
Yeah.
They letting things go that they normally don't let go during the regular season. And so
That is where Starks believes the real GOAT conversation changes completely. To him, this is not just about talent alone. Plenty of players in NBA history had talent. Plenty of stars could score 40 points, dominate stretches of games, or put together highlight reels people still watch today. But according to Starks, the GOAT conversation is about something deeper than flashy numbers. It is about who erased doubt when the lights got brightest, who walked into pressure situations without giving anyone a reason to question them, who made people feel like the outcome was already decided before the game even ended. And this is where his comments about LeBron started getting attention fast. Starks said the issue was never LeBron's talent because nobody can deny how gifted he is. LeBron has the stats, the longevity, the championships, the MVPs, and one of the greatest careers basketball has ever seen. Even critics admit that. But Starks pointed out that LeBron's career always came with questions attached to it in certain moments. Not because he was bad, but because there were times when expectations were sky high and the results did not fully match the hype surrounding him. That is the part that keeps dividing basketball fans all these years later. Some people see LeBron's long list of accomplishments and think the debate should already be over in his favor. Others keep going back to those moments where the pressure felt massive and the performance became heavily criticized afterward. That tension has followed LeBron throughout almost his entire career. And Starks basically said, those moments matter when people start talking about the greatest player ever.
He says Michael Jordan is the GOAT in his mind and in his opinion, and that Michael Jordan never made mistakes. This is not an opinion of somebody that watched the game or followed them live or a commentator or a journalist. This is a guy that played against Mike many games. And he's telling you every time he faced him, Mike was simply on. He didn't have a bad game. He never made mistakes. And he couldn't believe it even after watching film of the games that you just couldn't find a mistake that Michael Jordan made during the game.
Those moments happened. They are part of NBA history forever, and nobody can erase them now. That is exactly what John Starks was getting at when he compared LeBron James to Michael Jordan. According to Starks, the difference is simple. With Jordan, those kinds of questions never seemed to follow him around the same way. And the quote that really caught attention was direct and cold at the same time. Starks said, "You never had questions about Mike." That line hit hard because this was coming from someone whose entire job was trying to expose weaknesses in Jordan's game during playoff battles. Think about that for a second. Starks was literally competing against Jordan in high-pressure situations, searching for cracks in the armor, trying to find any sign that the pressure could break him. But according to him, those moments never really showed up. Now, this is the part where LeBron fans usually get defensive because nobody likes talking about the uncomfortable parts of the GOAT debate. LeBron James has had one of the greatest careers basketball has ever seen. 4 championships, 10 NBA Finals appearances, historic scoring numbers, elite passing, longevity that honestly looks unreal in modern sports. The man broke the all-time scoring record and stayed dominant for over 2 decades. Nobody serious is denying LeBron's greatness. That is not even the debate anymore. But when people start arguing about the greatest player ever, context becomes everything.
Dr. J was here last week.
Yeah.
And he was talking about, he disliked the flopping, the management, player management, where they rest the time.
Yeah,
so
load management.
Load management.
Yeah.
He said he disliked that. He said that.
I'm with him 100%.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They talking about shortening the season. Well, they go shorten your contract. Yeah, I don't want to do that. We can play 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
No, come on, man. You play 2.5 hours after that. You got people grinding it out, from the time they get up to the time they go to bed, trying to make a living.
Right.
You know what I mean? You just playing 2.5 hours. And so I don't believe in that. It just, you got a job to do, and your job is to go out there and play basketball. And if you weren't getting paid, would you still be doing it? Yes. So just go out there and do your job, man. That's what you get paid to do.
Raw numbers alone do not settle that conversation because championships, pressure moments, and expectations all become part of the story too. Michael Jordan went to the NBA Finals 6 times and won every single one of them. 6 appearances, 6 championships, 0 finals losses. That perfect record became a huge part of why people view Jordan differently. Every time he reached the finals, the conversation was never, can he get it done? Instead, people expected him to take over the series completely. There was this feeling that once Jordan got there, the ending was already written. LeBron's finals record tells a very different story. 4 wins and 6 losses. Now, to be fair, some of those losses came under brutal circumstances. Early in his career, Cleveland did not exactly surround him with powerhouse rosters. In 2007, he dragged a young Cavaliers team to the finals almost by pure force of will alone. And many people still respect that run because the roster around him was far from dominant. That context matters. It absolutely does. But here is where critics like Starks separate Jordan from LeBron. They argue that Jordan's legacy never needed explanations attached to it. Nobody has to go back and explain away finals losses because there were none to explain. That changes the entire debate. When somebody says, well, those losses were understandable, the conversation already feels different compared to Jordan's career because his record speaks for itself without extra defense around it. Then comes the moment that still follows LeBron everywhere. The 2011 NBA Finals against the Dallas Mavericks. This is the series many critics point to immediately when the GOAT debate comes up because expectations for Miami were sky high. LeBron had teamed up with Dwyane Wade and Chris Bosh to build a super team designed specifically to dominate the league and win championships. Miami entered that finals series as the heavy favorite. A lot of people thought they would cruise through Dallas without much trouble. But instead, the Mavericks shocked everybody. And the biggest reason people still talk about that series is because LeBron struggled in ways fans did not expect from a superstar of his level. He averaged 17 points per game during the finals, and there were stretches where he looked strangely passive instead of taking control of the moment. That performance created questions that never fully disappeared. Critics argued that when the pressure became overwhelming, LeBron did not dominate the way people expected the greatest player in the world to dominate. Fair or unfair, that series became a permanent part of his legacy because people expected greatness and saw something far less convincing instead. And this is exactly the type of thing John Starks was talking about without directly naming the series itself. According to Starks, Jordan never had a finals moment where people walked away questioning whether he shrank under pressure. The record stays clean. No finals losses, no collapse narratives, no years where fans spent the entire offseason debating what went wrong on the biggest stage. Starks also pushed another point that surprised people during the interview. He said the real GOAT debate should actually be Michael Jordan versus Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And honestly, Kareem's resume is hard to ignore. 6 championships, 6 MVP awards, 20 seasons of elite basketball. For years, he held the NBA's all-time scoring record before LeBron eventually passed him. Kareem dominated across multiple eras and stayed effective longer than almost anybody the league has ever seen. According to John Starks, the GOAT debate makes a lot more sense when it stays between Michael Jordan and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. In his eyes, those are the 2 players with the strongest cases at the very top of basketball history. Why? Because both careers feel complete without needing extra explanations attached to them. Their resumes stand on their own. Their championship success speaks loudly by itself. Nobody has to spend hours defending finals losses or explaining away major disappointments on the biggest stage. That is why Starks believes adding LeBron into that conversation changes the whole dynamic. To him, Jordan versus Kareem is already a clean debate between 2 legends whose legacies feel airtight. Bringing LeBron into the middle of it creates arguments people constantly have to defend instead of simply pointing at the record. Now, of course, whenever John Starks appears on a major show, one moment always comes up: the dunk. Anybody who knows 90s basketball already knows exactly which play people are talking about. May 25th, 1993, Knicks versus Bulls, Madison Square Garden rocking at full volume during the playoffs. Starks attacked the basket with zero fear, exploded over Horace Grant, and threw down one of the most iconic playoff dunks ever seen in New York basketball history. Michael Jordan came flying in from the side trying to block it and even got a piece of the ball, but the dunk still went down and the crowd completely lost its mind. That moment became legendary because it captured pure playoff chaos and emotion all at once. The photo from that play still lives everywhere in basketball culture because the energy behind it was unreal. Madison Square Garden looked ready to explode. But here is the interesting part. Even while telling that story, Starks still showed respect toward Jordan, instead of trying to twist the moment into something bigger than it was. He openly admitted Jordan got part of the ball on the play. He explained exactly how it happened. Horace Grant was underneath. Jordan rotated over from the side, and the contest from Jordan actually made the dunk look even crazier afterward. That honesty matters, because a lot of people in sports love rewriting history to make themselves look better. Starks could easily tell the story in a way that leaves out Jordan's impact completely, but he does not do that. Instead, he gives Jordan credit while still celebrating the moment, and honestly, that says a lot about how players from that era viewed Michael Jordan. The respect runs deep because these guys actually battled him face to face under real pressure. They were not watching edited highlight tapes years later on social media. They lived through the experience in real time. That is why opinions from players like Starks often hit differently than random internet debates. When former NBA players from both the Jordan era and LeBron era consistently say there was something different about Jordan mentally, people listen closely because these are individuals who actually competed against elite talent themselves. Starks is not the only former player saying things like this either. Tim Hardaway once said he would take Dwyane Wade's prime over LeBron's prime. Lindsey Hunter made similar comments too. And when multiple former players from that generation keep bringing up the same concerns about LeBron while talking about Jordan almost differently, fans notice the pattern immediately. According to them, it is not about disrespecting LeBron's greatness. It is about evaluating what they personally experienced on the court against both eras of players. That perspective carries weight because most fans arguing online never had to guard any of these legends in front of packed arenas with playoff pressure crushing everybody involved. The interview also touched on another huge topic that always starts arguments online: how Michael Jordan would perform in today's NBA. And Starks did not hesitate at all with his answer. He said Jordan in today's league would be unmerciful, not just dominant, not just good, unmerciful. That word alone instantly got people talking, because Starks clearly believes modern defenses would struggle badly against a player with Jordan's skill set and mentality. Some critics like to argue that Jordan's game would not translate perfectly into the modern NBA because today's league focuses more on spacing, three-point shooting, and faster offensive systems. But honestly, that argument has always felt shaky to a lot of basketball fans. Jordan averaged over 30 points per game for his career while shooting over 50% from the field, and he did it in an era where defenses could play far more physically than they can now. He created offense from almost anywhere on the floor and attacked defenders relentlessly without needing perfect spacing around him. That is why many former players believe Jordan would still terrorize the league today, maybe even more than before with the extra freedom modern scorers now get offensively. According to John Starks, today's NBA would not slow Michael Jordan down at all. If anything, he believes the modern game would actually make Jordan even more dangerous. Think about it for a second. Today's league gives offensive players way more freedom than the 90s ever did. Defenders cannot hand-check the same way anymore. Driving lanes are cleaner. Spacing is wider. Scorers get more room to attack without defenders constantly bumping and grabbing them every possession. For a player like Jordan, that could have been scary for the rest of the league. Starks basically said, the idea that modern basketball would somehow weaken Jordan makes no sense from a basketball standpoint. This is coming from somebody who actually had to defend him during playoff wars, not somebody just debating online for entertainment. In Starks' eyes, Jordan in today's NBA would have been even tougher to deal with because the game now favors elite scorers and isolation players more than ever before. And this is usually where the LeBron supporters shift the conversation toward longevity, total stats, and overall career production. To be fair, those arguments absolutely matter. LeBron's career numbers are ridiculous. The scoring record, the assists, the rebounds. 20-plus years of elite basketball. Very few athletes in any sport have maintained that level for that long. That part of LeBron's legacy is undeniable. But Starks' point was never really about statistics alone. The GOAT conversation goes beyond spreadsheets and career totals for a lot of former players. To them, it comes down to dominance when everything was on the line. Who owned the biggest moments? Who removed doubt completely? Who made opponents feel defeated before the final buzzer even sounded? According to Starks, Jordan did that better than anybody else. That is the difference he keeps coming back to. Jordan never gave opponents confidence that they could take the finals away from him once he got there. LeBron, fairly or unfairly, had moments in his career where critics felt the pressure affected the outcome. And that single gap is why Starks walked onto the Breakfast Club and made such a strong statement. Not because he thinks LeBron is not an all-time great player. Nobody serious believes that. LeBron's career is legendary no matter where somebody ranks him. But in Starks' eyes, greatness and GOAT status are not automatically the same thing. And what makes his comments hit harder is the fact he actually lived through that era himself. He played against Jordan directly. He studied film on him. He tried to stop him under playoff pressure with the whole world watching. After all of that experience, Stark still came away believing the true GOAT debate only comes down to two names, Michael Jordan and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That take alone is going to keep basketball fans arguing for a long time. If this video got you fired up, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with another basketball fan who always argues about the GOAT debate. Also, drop your opinion in the comments right now. Who is your GOAT and why? See you on the next one.